Hi, you're watching an opinion review in 2, brought to you by www.ocregister.com/opinion. Watch as our editorial writers share a brief word about local, state, national, and international issues.
Wanted to comment on a Court of Appeals case late last month dealing with homeschooling in California. It's caused a lot of concern among people who teach their children at home because the court found that there's no constitutional right to homeschool your children in California. So the case in essence declares that homeschooling is illegal. They were dealing with one particular family that was homeschooling their children while they were enrolled in a private school. And what the court said is California has a compulsory education law. You have to send your kids to public schools or to accredited private schools, or there are a few handful of exemptions. And the court said that this is not an appropriate exemption. The problem is in California there's no clear law on homeschooling. There's nothing in the book that says it's legal or illegal, and that's caused years of fighting. In early 2000 and around 2002, former superintendent of public instruction Delaine Easton argued that homeschooling is illegal in California, and she sent a letter to school districts and other officials saying that basically homeschoolers should be treated as if they're truant. And that's an enormous problem. That means that the truant officers could come to your home. Even Child Protective Services in California, you could lose custody of your children for not following the compulsory education laws. So it's a huge problem. What happened was nothing was ever resolved in the law. The homeschooling advocates argue that it is legal based on a few clauses in the education code, and zealots like Delaine Easton argue that it's illegal. She left office in 2002, and Jack O'Connell took over as superintendent of public instruction, and he believes in homeschooling as one of the education choices, and he's called off the pit bulls. So things have been going along pretty well. Mostly what happens is homeschool parents will fill out an affidavit calling their homeschool a private school. They file that with the local school district, and they're generally left alone. But now, with this court decision, it's possible that officials might start harassing homeschoolers and their parents again. So there's no resolution right now. Governor Schwarzenegger issued a statement condemning the ruling and calling for a legislative fix. The problem with a legislative fix is the Democratic-controlled legislature is also a California Teachers Association controlled legislature, and homeschooling advocates fear that if the legislators revisit this law, that they might make things worse. So perhaps, hopefully the case will get overturned at the Supreme Court, and that will solve the problem. If not, it's hard to know which way to proceed. Perhaps an initiative is the way to go. Let's hope in the meantime that public school officials have more pressing concerns, such as their own failing schools, to not worry about some of the best educated kids in the state. But this is a basic freedom issue, the right to school your children at home, and it affects about 166,000 students in California, and a lot of these families would leave the state rather than have to stop homeschooling. So this is a very big issue. Some bloggers, some observers have argued that, well, it doesn't really outlaw homeschooling, the decision. Well, the decision is up to some interpretation, but there is no clarity in the law. So the decision actually makes it very easy for school officials to torment homeschoolers if they choose to. So some clarity is needed, and let's hope we can get some kind of bipartisan consensus on assuring that homeschoolers have the right to teach the kids at home.